Welcome to lecture series on database management system. In today's lecture series, we are going to see about some of the examples in ER diagram. So as we have discussed earlier, ER diagram represents the overall logical structure of a database. Uh, So ER diagram contains three main components such as entities, attribute, and relation. So entity is any real world object or a thing. Attribute is used to describe the properties of a particular attribute. And relationship is used to represent the dependency among various entities. So here is some definition of what is entity and entity set. So entity is any real world object which is distinguishable. So no two objects will be similar. So no two students will be the same. They do not have same attribute characteristics, right? So are distinguishable. So collection of entities that share the same properties together is called as entity set. So example for entity is any a specific person, company, or an object are entities. Example for entity set is set of all companies, set of all persons, set of trees. All these are called as entity sets. So as we have described earlier, an entity can be represented with the help of attributes. So these attributes represent the descriptive properties possessed by any entity set. So here is an example. If you can take instructor, it is an entity. Instructor is considered as an entity. It contains various attributes such as ID, name, and salary. And let us take one more attribute, which is course. It contains attributes such as course ID, title, and credits. So what is primary key? So primary key is any attribute in a given database or a relation which is used to uniquely identify each tuple or row in a table. So consider two different entities here. One is instructor entity, other one is student entity. So how do we represent the entity set in ER diagram? Entities are graphically represented in an ER diagram with the help of rectangular shape. So rectangle represents the entity sets. Attributes can be listed inside the rectangular shape. Underlined, if you underline any particular attribute, that particular attribute can be treated as the primary key for that particular relation. And as we have discussed earlier, a relationship can be represented with the help of rectangular shape or, can be represented with the help of diamond shape or rhombus. So here we have two entities, instructor and student. These two entities are connected with the help of relation advisor. So the entity student is dependent on instructor because instructor is an advisor for that student. So this is the dependency between these two entities. Uh, for relationship sets with attributes. So what is relationship set? If we have more than one relationship, it is called as relationship set. So here, the entity sets of a relation need not be distinct. That is, relation is used to connect two different entities, right? So these two entities need not be different. These two entities can be same. For example, uh, any course will have a prerequisite, correct? So here only one entity is involved, but we have two relation is of two types. So course ID and prerequisite ID. We have two different things to connect the relationship. So any course has a prerequisite. So here the second entity is not required. What is degree of relationship set? So degree, it represents the extent or it represents the number of entities involved in the relation. If there are two entities involved in a relation, it is called as binary relationship. Or the degree of the particular relationship is treated as two. So most of the relationship sets that we use in database system these days are a binary relationship. Example, take one example. Student works on research project under the guidance of an instructor. So these are example for binary relationship. So one example for ternary relationship is that the project guide between the instructor relationship and project. So there will be an instructor. So instructor is similar to the project coordinator, and there is a student who will do a project. So here instructor, student and project are various entities. And the common relation among these entities will be the project guide. So here more than two entities are involved in this particular relation, which is project guide. So hence this relationship is called as ternary relationship. So ternary relationships are also called as non-binary relationship sets. Here is an example for ternary relationship. If you see, we have three entities such as instructor, here we have instructor, sorry, we have instructor, project and student. These three are different entities. So these three entities are connected with a single relation, project guide. So this is example for ternary relationship or non-binary relationship. So attributes can be simple attribute or composite attributes. So composite attribute is that if any attribute that which can be divided into further attributes, it is composite attribute. For example, if you take name, name can be divided as first name, middle name, and last name. So name is example for composite attribute. So any attribute that cannot be divided into more attributes are called as simple attributes. And we have single valued and multi-valued attributes. So for any student, there will be only one roll number. So roll number is single valued attribute. But for any student, he can have more than one phone number. He can have more than one mail ID. So email ID and phone numbers are multi-valued attributes. Derived attribute is that even if we do not provide value for any particular attribute, and if its value can be determined from some other attribute, it is called as derived attribute. For example, consider two attributes, date of birth and age. If we did not provide the value for age, we can still calculate with the help of date of birth. So age is considered as derived attribute. So composite attribute, here is an example for composite attribute. Name and address are composite attributes. Here is an example ER diagram. So let me tell you one example. Customer is an entity. It contains various attributes. So here customer ID is a primary key since it is underlined, and address is composite attribute. And if you look at the next example, we have two entities, employee and department, which is connected with the help of a relation belongs to. So cardinality set is the type used to represent the type of relationship set. It can be one-to-one, one-to-many, many-to-one, or many-to-many. So here is the mapping of the cardinality set. So first represents the one-to-one mapping, second one is one-to-many, third one is many-to-one, and last one is many-to-many. So here arrow mark is used to represent the cardinality set. So one single arrow mark represents one, and if there is an undirected line, it represents many. First one is one to one, and second one is one to many. Third one is many to one. Last one is many to many. So this one, first one represents the total participation, which means all the attributes involved in that particular relationship. So if not all the attribute involved in particular relationship, it is partial participation. And so here the participation can be described with the help of values 0 to 1. 1 represents total participation, and star represents maximum participation. 0 represents partial participation. So these are some of the examples for ER diagram. Hope you have understood what we have seen so far. Let us meet with some other interesting topic in the next lecture series. Thanks for watching.